Hey there, I'm Mr. Terry. I'm a high school history teacher. Welcome back to another History Teacher Reacts video. Have you ever seen some old historical fashion that you think needs to come back? Do we need to go back to basically wearing bed sheets like the ancient Greeks and Romans did? Should we have giant hairstyles like Marie Antoinette and put a boat in our head? I don't know, but BlueJay has it for you. In this video, we're going to be checking out a video titled Absurd Historical Fashion That Needs to Come Back. And again, this is from a channel favorite, BlueJay. The video will be linked down below. Make sure you're supporting that. All right, I'm excited to see what they have to say. Hey, I wasn't lying about the bedsheet thing. Just wearing like robes. That sounds great.
Riddled with rules and laws that are seemingly nonsensical, but are often followed more rigorously than real ones. For example, you may see a man commit armed robbery, but heaven forbid he does it with a pair of Skechers on. 20 to life is not a problem, but can you imagine how it would feel to be socially ridiculed? I sure can't, not me. Gee willikers, that sounds terrible. Take the phrase, sometimes always never. No, this isn't a game of smash or pass, or a sorority girl listing her liquor preferences. It's the rule that stipulates that the bottom button of a suit jacket should never be fastened. Today it seems...
Is that still a thing? I haven't been wearing suit jackets in like years. Is that still the thing? You don't bottom the bottom one for some reason?
Rule that stipulates that the bottom button of a suit jacket should never be fastened. Today it seems second nature, but where did this seemingly common sense rule originate? Is it a remnant
weird when the
of some
tie can
old
be seen.
custom? Perhaps it has its roots in a unique cultural tradition. No, King Edward VII was just too chunky to fit that gut in, so everyone followed their king's half-dress style like good little peasants.
I do gotta say, the tall like 5-gallon hats, those were pretty cool.
Except for me, I leave the top button undone because I follow a different king and also, ew, British. But the jacket button rule is pretty mild, and only the tip of the fashion trend iceberg. And oh boy, how deep and bizarre does this iceberg
Wearing
go.
donuts.
So today, we're gonna take a deep...
Oh, I saw, did you guys see? Okay, it's gotta be on the bottom. Let me see if I can pause it.
Deep and
okay, I see here that you see the little red shoes there? That's foot binding. That's from Chinese history, foot binding, where you break your feet and wrap them up so they don't heal right, and your foot's like half the size. And Crocs are at the bottom. Hey, I'm not gonna lie, I was gifted my first pair of Crocs. I'm kind of down with them.
Bizarre does this iceberg go? So today,
only because of comfort and utility.
Some of the most absurd
it looks
trends,
stupid.
styles, and fashion throughout history. Again.
Love me some BlueJay, man. It's such a great channel.
Why don't you kick us off, Benjamin? Got a favorite fashion era in history? I'm a big fan of mid-1900s German fashion.
What, when I wore, okay, hey, oh my God. Okay, I don't have them. I was gonna say, if I wore my glasses, I'm this guy. If I saw my glasses, watch my old videos at the very beginning of my channel, like the first month, when I had glasses still before I had LASIK surgery. Dude, I was this guy. Look at that. I'm even wearing the green, like Carhartt pocket shirt. And that's kind of my hair color. And when I had glasses and I have freckles and stuff and acne, whatever. Dude, BlueJay, you drew me. What the?
Okay, gonna try not to read into that. But all right, well, mid-20th century Germany saw a more authoritarian style of fashion. You've got tailored suits, drindle dresses,
Watch the rest of it like
was more popular than a massive hole in your chest cavity. What? Oh, you didn't know? All the cool drafted boys were wearing it. The style was best achieved by facing a Russian T-34 on the Eastern Front. But unfortunately for you, that method isn't around anymore. So if you want to achieve this fashion and be one of the cool kids, I recommend playing World of Tanks. World of Tanks is a free-to-play PC game where you can toy around with a massive arsenal of all kinds of big honkin' tanks and huge online battles. Historical accuracy
I just got the new Call of Duty.
And World of Tanks delivers
Modern Warfare 3
vehicle models and characteristics that sure made
stream
me
it
feel like I was a
sometime.
real-life tank commander as I got obliterated by other tanks.
Sub to my gaming channel, Mr. Terry Gaming.
The epic-sized battles are easily my favorite part of the game. You've got more than 1,000 tanks to drive around in a field for the holiday. Schwarzenegger and Mila Jovovich to do the trailer. Does that mean you might end up in an game, which is your first-time player, to get a bunch of credits, premium access, and some cool tanks to try out? Make sure to use the link in the description so they know I sent you. Thank you, World of Tanks, for sponsoring the video. I want a cool chest hole! You go get 'em, champ. Now, where were we? Ah, yes. It's Victorian London, and a contagion is spreading. Street by
Awful
street,
time.
town by town, women can be seen struggling as they try to walk down the road, their stride impaired by an awkward limp, many supporting their weight on canes. But what is rather peculiar is that it seems only wealthier women are affected by this illness. And wait a minute,
What are they
polio
talking
wasn't a
about?
thing yet, and these hoes are smiling. So, as the British would say, what saw this then? Well, to understand this limp, let me
What's this
introduce
then?
you all to Alexandra of Denmark. The Princess of Wales was a 19th century fashion icon who enjoyed the exceptional adoration of the public. She was radically stylish, a big charity worker, the second hottest Alexandra in history, and a lifelong hater
Daddario?
of Germans. So all around pretty based.
She's a
This meant
babe.
that whatever the royal did, the masses would blindly follow like a 19th century
Actually,
K-pop star.
not lying. Her stuff that she was wearing, that was pretty good. That was cool stuff. That was cool.
Wearing a radical new dress style, the people did too. Choker covering a childhood scar,
Like, that's
why
cool.
not? Hold my leash. Life-threatening rheumatic fever,
a
leaving
lot of
her with
necklaces,
a permanent
but-
limp. Count me in. I love Forrest Gump. That's right. Alexandra's influence on fashion was so strong that it transcended just petty physical garments to include
That's
physical
all right.
ailments as well. So not long after Alexandra began limping
Oh,
in public,
gosh.
were London's fashion followers seen waltzing down the streets like they were covered with Legos.
See, no one knows the pain like Lego pain. But then look, they made it all depressing looking. It's like you had this big flamboyant style with the dresses, and then you just make it like black, gray. Everybody in Victorian England was like just in their emo phase. I mean, I get it because you're living in just a toxic cloud of smoke and everything's disgusting and dark and you probably don't see the light. And when it does rain, it's like acid rain. So like they're just dressing like they feel back then.
In their best attempt to come off as quirky little cripples, women would stumble about with canes and even go as far as wearing different sized shoes
Oh my
for a
gosh.
more authentic handicap.
while you're fleeing Jack the Ripper.
Oh, Edward, I absolutely adore your limp. Tell me, how do you pull it off? I have cerebral palsy.
Yeah, like
Oh, I must
sick.
inquire my cobbler about that brand. And your cane is just adorable. While at first the style was more DIY in nature, the more cunning shoemakers came to realize that there was a golden opportunity to make a fat stack. So they began selling shoes with different sized heels to help the upper class's biggest fashionistas achieve that oh so desirable crippled stride.
See, that would actually mess up your hips because you would get out of alignment, which is going to cause all kinds of back problems. I've had 2 back surgeries in my life, and as a result of it, I like walk uneven. I have like a leg longer than the other because the other is like jammed up into my hip. It sucks.
Here we have some of my finest work. Oh, how
Did you buy 2 different
beautiful.
pairs?
You've outdone yourself, Henry.
You size 9 and
Madam,
size
I
6.
noticed as you strode in that you partook in the limp, is that right? Why, yes, I'm delighted you've noticed.
like your
It's
gangster
quite
walk.
remarkable. Reminds me of my nephew's stride. Oh, stop it. You are quite the charmer. I did watch a few struggling children from my carriage the other day to study it. They're quite adorable.
That's what you wanted to look
Yes.
like?
He died a few months ago now.
Oh.
Anyway, I wanted to see if you'd be interested in our limited edition upgrade to these fine pair of shoes you've selected. Using some precise and refined craftsmanship, we can perform a modification on these for even more authentic limp. Oh, please, Henry, I must stay up to date on fashion. Yes, of course, of course. 1 moment, please.
Okay. What's he gonna do? Just make it bigger. Is your foot always sliding around because bigger, or they just make the tip longer?
That'll be 200 pounds.
Oh,
Like
God,
most
just
trends, the
oh yeah,
Alexandra
because
limp.
it's lower. It wasn't necessarily longer. Yeah, it's lower. So well, yeah, you're higher than the other one. All right, ladies that watch this, I know only about 10% of my audience are women. We need to get that up, by the way. Is this something you're down with? Do you feel like you need that tilt in your life?
Came with its fair share of critics, as multiple news outlets would often denounce the practice with some rather colorful
Stanky
language.
legs back.
I don't know how exactly the aristocratic woman responded to the criticism, but I'm sure they had plenty of time to think about it as they staggered their way down to the printing press.
I think I've told you guys this. BlueJay's comedic timing and voice acting is so good, and it's gotten better ever since he started. I love it.
It's not a phase, but it was a phase.
Such a good
and one
voice
that died
actor.
quicker than the Witcher show's fan base. Thankfully, fashion is like a pendulum, so I'm sure whatever trend that followed proved to be much more
true.
practical and mild.
It's gonna come back. Did it?
Ah, shit. Our next
It did. It did come back.
To be
So say it's usually when so when you're a kid, you look at the fashion of like your parents, right? And at that time, you think it's kind of lame. But then when you get to that age, it recycles. It's about every 30 years or so. You know, like right now, 90s kind of style is in. Yeah, that's what's going on. And like 90s, we're like late 90s now, like the grunge. A few years ago, we were in like the early 90s. Very colorful, like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Now we're to like mid to later 90s grunge look, stuff like that. Kids, you know, fake Nirvana fans wearing Nirvana shirts, all that.
much more practical and mild. Ah, shit. Our next fashion staple takes place a few hundred years back in medieval Europe.
Oh.
You know what? I need an audience.
Because that's where I'm looking for fashion.
Say, Tim, you know those medieval paintings with dudes wearing pointy shoes like they're doing a Shrek 4 cosplay? Can you guess why those are popular? No, the radiation stuff is done. You're supposed to leave me alone now. Close. Actually, the shoes were named Kipples after the mythical Irish folklore Scosi Kipple, known for breaking into people's homes to smear wax all over their cooking utensils. So people wore these pointy shoes.
A mild nuisance. They have a whole like angry deity for that. By the way, those spiky things though remind me. Have you seen those like fancy like alligator cowboy boots that they're like super pointy at the end? That's what those kind of look like to me. But would these be all like floppy? You don't want it to be all floppy. Then you just trip. So you have to have something make it stick out like that.
The mock Scosi Kipple's abnormal feat, believing that the trickster would be so offended that she would crawl back into her hut with her mood for trickery completely ruined.
Man.
Really? No, that's stupid. Why would you believe that? They were just some sick-ass pointy shoes.
Look at them.
You don't need an excuse to be that stylish. These long-tipped kicks ruled the world of fashion in medieval Europe.
How could you
between the
walk?
12th and 15th centuries.
You have to walk like a duck.
And while they weren't named after that mythical creature I pulled out of my ass, they were named after something equally miserable.
You made it up.
Poland. Specifically, the shoes were named Krakos after the city in Poland where the fashion's popularity originated. The long-toed shoes were worn by both men and women. However, it was the former who took the fashion to the extreme. Most toes weren't more than half the length of the shoe, but the rich could don tips as long as 20 inches. And the even wealthier were said to have their little piggies stretched so long they had to get tied up at the shin just to be able to walk, all fighting to prove that they had the longest and girthiest shoes. As for why they were popular, I mean,
it's not about the
isn't
size.
it obvious? Foot daggers. No. But points for creativity.
Yeah.
They were popular for the same reason that people wear fanny packs. Raw sex appeal. And I completely agree. I mean,
put stuff in there.
Look at my boy here, looking like he better moonwalk his way down to ye old tavern to pick up some fair maidens.
Yeah.
They were truly worn for all occasions.
Yeah. Hey, are these shoes any dumber though than like the those like big red boots? Have you seen those that were a thing for a second?
And while they didn't hide a hidden
Kanye
blade
West
like some
style
Assassin's
stuff.
Creed leprechaun, people did wear them into battle to make their grippers look as dangerous as possible. The knights of the Duke of Austria, Leopold III, often wore Krakos on horseback. However, in one engagement, they had to dismount to fight on foot, so they were forced to cut off the tips of their shoes and toss them in a huge pile so they could run around and get to stabbing.
Honestly wonder, because I've seen those metal ones that are like that. Were those actually used for like any kind of military purpose? All right, what are they doing with the tips here?
All right, let's get killing. Gary, you coming? Gary?
He's gonna keep going.
Krakos ultimately fell out of style in the 1480s. It's unfortunate that the style didn't last a few more centuries.
Weirdo.
I would have loved to see Cinderella with glass Krakos instead of slippers.
Be able to find her easy.
Right. There we go. Today you can still find Krakow-inspired boots called Winkle Pickers, which sounds like some Hulu knockoff version of the Peaky Blinders.
Right,
so
those
it
are
checks
kinda
out
cool.
that they're from England. But over on the other side of the pond, these pointy kicks went by.
By the way, I know like Chris VTH, he likes Creaky Blinders and stuff, and I kind of need something new to watch. Do you guys think I'd like that? Creaky Blinders?
More refined.
Let me know down below.
roach stompers. While the origin
So
behind
yeah,
the name...
hey, this is what I was talking about. I've seen these. I've seen them like swap meets and stuff. They're usually it's super fancy like that, inlaid with something shiny material, jewels or something. This I've seen these.
Might seem rather obvious. I prefer my headcanon. Those are some mighty fine boots, Pa. Why, thank you, son. They're about the only good thing to come out of that tea drinker country since the white flag. But I just can't wrap my head around this name of theirs. Winkle Pinkles, Whippersnappers, Fickle Pickles. Dag nabbits, I needs to call them something different.
Pointy boots. The roaches.
Finkelwinkles might not be for everyone, so if you're looking to crank that eccentric dial to the max, there's always Mexican pointy boots. Pineapples
Yeah, okay, that's what. Okay, I'm not tripping.
Crank that eccentric dial to the max, there's always Mexican pointy boots.
Because that's that's okay. That one's obviously ridiculous, but yeah, those are what I've seen. Look at those.
Pineapples are known to evoke a lot of emotion from people, from pure joy when asked who lives in one under the sea, to utter hatred when seen placed upon a cheesy grease wheel. So it shouldn't be too surprising to learn that back in the day, these little prickle cones went for as much as $8,000 in today's money. The popularity of pineapples originates in 1493, when Italian explorer Christopher Columbus discovered the little tree fruit on the Caribbean island of Guadalupe. Welcome to our island. We are pleased to... Wow, such vivid colors. What zesty flavor. Ah!
Yeah, ouch.
Oh, and a little bit of bite as well. What a majestic and dangerous muse you are. I can't believe I discovered this. I am the first human being in all of time to lay eyes upon this sour delight.
Except all the people there.
I shall call it the Pina de Indies. Excuse me, but...
It's pronounced master.
Everyone was crazy for these spiky...
That's pretty much the first voyage of Columbus. In a nutshell. I discovered you. I discovered this. That's mine. And now you're all dead.
Lights. Though given how far they had to travel to reach Europe, typically only nobility and monarchs were able to get their grubby little paws on them. Some of the wealthiest even built greenhouses to mimic the tropical conditions required to grow pineapples. King Charles II was so infatuated with the fruit that he went as far as to commission a literal painting showing his gardener on his knee, presenting it with one glorious prickly boy. Which might seem like a bit much to you and me, but keep in mind this was before Instagram made flexing as easy as taking a pic on top of a 4-story parking garage in the Midwest. So they had to go all out. But with how desired, how lavish, and how revered these exotic fruits were, it would be a shame to merely eat them. Then your pineapple would be gone. How would everyone know how cool you were with your luscious fruit all hidden away inside your stomach? So in the American colonies of the 1700s, pineapples were used primarily as decorations, and were only finally eaten once they started going bad. People put them in center
until they finally cracked it open and were like, whoa, it's actually delicious inside.
Pieces, they were shown off at parties. Forget the baby, there's no room for that clingy leech when you're busy taking your pineapple out for a stroll. Can't afford one? No problem. You could rent one. Make everyone think you're rich enough to be a pineapple boy. They were even sometimes protected with their own security detail. John, hey,
pineapple
your party
police.
is awesome.
No
Thanks,
step
man.
on
Thanks. Hey, if you want to see something really cool, come with me. Check out this bad boy. Holy shit, is that a pineapple? Yeah, dude, an American model too. None of that import trash. God damn, how many spikes is she packing? Why? Can't touch pineapple, Ted. Outside of throwing tea in harbors, a pineapple was the ultimate colonial flex. So whenever
pineapple
there was an opportunity for a pineapple, then a pineapple there will be. Got a teapot? Now it's a pineapple. Building a dome? Why not a tropical one? How about a pineapple helmet? They didn't have pineapple helmets.
Yet.
But I think that's a hilarious missed opportunity. Pineapples were also the universal symbol of hospitality. Put it on a sign and it meant guests are welcome. When the sign was gone, it meant to get the hell out. And when it was upside down, well, that means they're swingers. Yeah. But that's a topic for another video.
Oh, gosh.
On a different website.
It's the upside down pineapple.
And along comes young industrialist James Dole, who was looking to kickstart large-scale pineapple distribution with a plantation in Hawaii. I was
gonna say, are we gonna get into like these fruit companies and how impactful they were in history? It's basically why the U.S. ended up taking over Hawaii was because of pineapple production. Stuff fetched such high prices, it led to colonialism.
It's a huge success, and for many decades,
Bananas,
James
too.
supplied upwards of 75% of the global pineapple supply. But for the world's upper class, this meant that not only were the middle class now able to get the spiky fruit, but by God, even the dreadful working class could too. So the esteemed
Plebs?
status of the pineapple soon died off. Hello, Caroline. What do you think of this? Ah, yes, a pineapple. I just came from the market where Tom was buying a few. What? Tom the coal miner? The poor fellow? Well, yes.
It's not gonna be cool anymore.
Carrying a few pineapples just like yourself. James's company would go on to become the Dole Food Company, which is notable today for being a large fruit producer and disappointing you with fruit snacks that aren't the Scooby-Doo ones. As for Dole himself, his efforts in the pineapple business would later earn him the nickname the Pineapple King. And to that I say, what better crown than a pineapple helmet? Weird fashion too. 9 out of 10 stars.
All right, final thoughts. All right, so are you down with the return of the pointy boots or the uneven high-heeled shoes or just pineapple culture? You want those back? Anyways, those are funny. Gosh, BlueJay is so good at writing and the voice acting. You know what else is really good I love about BlueJay is the facial expressions directly match the voice acting. And I find that so good because that means you can add like subtlety, extra, hilarity without having to like do too much. You know what I mean? But anyways, I love that there. All right. What are some other fashion trends though that you all want to see back? You know, honestly, like 1920s, 30s, like kind of how people wore the 6 suits and the hats and stuff. Like you weren't even necessarily rich and you had that. I always thought that was kind of cool. You know what I mean? It does seem like a lot of work and not very comfortable, but I think I would go back to that. But what are some other fashions from history you would all like to see? Comment down below and love to see your ideas. All right. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.